The following podcast is a B&E Network exclusive.
Welcome to episode 11 of 2 versus 3. I'm Kyle. This is Cody.
Hey.
And Greg.
Yo.
Alright, so it's been a little bit since we've been sitting in our recording booth. We'll call it for this.
Yeah, it's our
So it
studio.
sounds fancy.
Or me and Greg's living room.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
Anyway,
we live in a
so-
studio.
It's been a while. What have you guys been up to?
Probably the same as Greg, just working, dealing with the chaos of customer service. It's been fun. I'm not going to say where I work, because just in case my boss is listening, he's a huge fan of 2 versus 3. But I work at a hotel, and let's just say, for the sake of the podcast, the person in room 404, she's quite a handful. I'm a porter at the hotel, so I run room service, and I've been getting her orders in the morning, and I don't do mornings often, so I come in there, I bring this order up, and the deal is there's no knocking on the door. She leaves the fucking door unlocked. I peek my head in, I go, room service, she goes, come in. I come in, she just looks up at me with fucking terror in her eyes, because I'm not the regular guy. And she just starts squirming in her seat and getting uncomfortable. And I place down the food, and she just dissects the tray in front of me. There's not enough butter. I have 4 pieces of toast. I need 4 butters. What is this? She starts shaking and almost crying. I'm like, that's ketchup, ma'am. She's like, get it away from me.
What the fuck? How long are people staying in your hotel?
She lives there.
What?
Yeah.
You don't work at a crappy hotel.
So later in the
It's
day,
a nice hotel.
Later in the day, I got a memo to bring up to room 404. I'm like, well, I'm fucking reading this on the way up. And I'm looking at it, and this woman's dealing with millions of dollars in bank loans. So she's just this old, nutty woman living in our hotel, dealing with banking. And we're thinking she's hoarding all of the condiments we're giving her on her room service trays. Because I'm bringing her up a fucking thing of oatmeal. And it comes with a little bit of maple syrup, which not a lot of people even put on their fucking oatmeal, but I bring it up, she's like, where's the jar? I'm like, what jar, ma'am? She's like, the jar of maple syrup. I'm like,
Stashing jars up there?
well, yeah. So we think she's stashing butter, maple syrup, salt and pepper.
She's just really getting her money's worth. Well, I mean, if she's giving you guys, like, weeks and weeks of payment, how long has she been living there? Do you know?
Well, she's been here for a month, and I think she's going to be here for a couple more months.
And she works for a bank.
I don't know if she works for anyone, but she's got fucking money.
Okay, how do you know? Like, just go. Well, I guess because she lives in a nice hotel.
And I read this memo, and she was meeting someone about these $1 million bonds.
Did she send that memo down? Like,
I
give me all the maple syrup I asked for. I have millions of dollars.
Basically.
Alright, I'm gonna start doing that whenever I go to a hotel. I'm gonna be like, listen, I'm up there dealing with $1 million bank bonds. Give me some extra fucking maple syrup. I'm always lacking maple syrup. I'm Canadian.
She's like giving me some serious like Howard Hughes vibes. Like,
well, that sounds that's right. She starts asking for peculiar flavors of ice cream and buys a company. Then you know you're dealing with that.
Yeah, it's all the joys of customer service. That's what I've been dealing with for this last week. What
That's
about
weird
you, Greg?
as fuck.
I just been visiting with some family.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, you went away for a few days.
Oh yeah, you were gone.
Yeah.
How's the train?
I took the train,
The local rail?
The local via?
the local via. Well, this country was built on the trains.
All countries pretty much were. No, that's not true. But anyway, that's...
Hung out with the family, went and saw Dawn of Justice again.
I saw it twice now.
Yeah, did you like it better?
I thought it was great the second time around too. My brother went and saw it. He saw it 3 times now. So, I mean...
So, Will likes it? I guess he liked it when we saw it.
I saw like a review that said that unlike or compared to other movies, most of the sales like in the box office were repeat viewers.
Well,
that makes sense.
Well,
Like
that doesn't
people
sound
dedicated fans.
Well, yeah, I get that, but it didn't have it had a huge drop off in its second week in the theaters.
No, that's fair, but maybe that was because only in the second week the only people who saw it were people who had already seen it.
They saw it once and liked it, and everyone else that hadn't seen it saw the reviews and like fuck it.
They listen to our podcast and they're like, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
Kyle's slaying that.
Yeah, way to go, Kyle. We're gonna get
I single-handedly ruined Warner Brothers. Yeah, I've been up to nothing really. Playing video games. That was it. I actually beat a game I've been playing for like almost a year, off and on. I was really proud of myself. I did it yesterday. Bloodborne. You guys ever play it? No. Really hard. Anyway, like I don't know if you ever heard of like Dark Souls or Demon Souls or Bloodborne, all made by the same From Software or whatever.
Yeah.
And notoriously difficult games.
You say I wasn't the tagline like "Prepare to Die."
Yeah, that was for Dark Souls. Yeah, and it was hard. I didn't struggle with it that bad. I just would. It's kind of like sometimes you run up against a part where you can't beat, and I would just give up and like go back a month later and then be able to beat that part. So it took me like 3 good chunks of playing it a lot and going back. But anyways, I was pretty damn fucking proud of myself when I finished it yesterday. I was like, it was my day off, and I was like, yeah, no one gives a shit. If I tried to tell like my girlfriend, oh yeah, I did this, and she was like, yeah, good for you. And I was like, damn, you don't know. This is hard. Other people that play this shit would be very like, oh yeah, good for you.
Yeah, I just bought and played a new game, Unravel. I just wrote a review for the game that's up on the bmoviesandebooks.com, and which will have been on the website for probably a week by the time this is out. And it was a really fun game. It was like it was like Mario, but the most beautiful way you could ever imagine it. Just like the scenery and the graphics are just...
Yeah, from what I've seen of it, it's really good.
It's like nothing I've ever seen before. And like, it made me feel like, I don't know, like a softie while I was playing it. Like, no, it's not an emotional game. It's just like I couldn't believe how much I got into how just beautiful I found it.
Yeah.
And like, because usually I get into games for like obscure reasons,
like
those.
Like
The
like
Witness
story,
or Passage, or
like
this was just like, oh my god, like this looks nice. I want to go on a walk here. Like, you know what I mean? It was just a damn charming, good-looking game.
Man,
like I said, I feel like a softie when I talk about it.
No, that's fine. No, like you can enjoy.
Damn fine game. Damn fine game.
Well, you liked it because it probably brought something up in you that you hadn't really gotten it.
Well, I even wrote in the review, for some reason it came to me that, do you guys remember the I Spy books?
Well, I liked that. I did read the review. And
yeah, like when we were kids.
Okay, I read that comment, and for some reason I was like, oh man, I mustn't have read those books. You mean like the ones where you have to like find things?
Yeah,
it's like Where's Waldo, but it's like a list of like
and it was always like really obscure like backgrounds, but it was always like artsy,
little, like
nice
buttons
looking,
or like little thimbles, like wooden trinkets.
Yeah, find the 10.
That's exactly what it reminded me of.
And I get that. I like that line in the review because I was like, oh yeah, that totally. I wouldn't have thought of that, but that is what it looks like.
I see. Now I've got this really. I haven't seen the game. I don't know what it's like.
Oh, no?
I've got all these different.
You should play it and beat it, man. It's short.
In my head.
But that brings me up to actually like what I was gonna bring up as a topic. Like I beat Bloodborne, and you just wrote your first review for a video game. But I was like wondering, what's your great achievement that you would think of, be most proud of yourself for in gaming?
Damn.
Something you did that really just...
I can think of a few, but I don't know about the greatest. Right off the bat, just for how far I got in The Witness without help, I'm very proud of myself.
I get that. I don't have the patience
or just
to do
because never in my life I've been a patient gamer. But especially when it comes to puzzle games, I'm like, fuck this. That's not why I play video games. But the fact that I was teaching myself how to solve shit in that game, I was pretty happy about that. But I don't know, I'm sure I can think of something better. What about you, Greg?
Well, for how little games I play, I think how far I got into Metal Gear is pretty good.
Which one? Like the first one?
Well, I mean, I think I beat like 4 of them, maybe 5.
But you haven't played... Yeah, okay, yeah. Like 1 through 4.
Yeah, like I did pretty good. Not, like, those aren't novice games, I don't think.
No, the early ones I have trouble with. Like, if I went back to try to play them
when
now...
I beat the first one, like, for PlayStation 1, like, I felt like a proper gamer, because there were people out there that I knew that hadn't finished that game.
Yeah. I give that makes sense. That's a tough game, especially like there's weird. I know like I think you told me the story of like the throwing rocks at someone's window to figure out.
Yeah, my buddy lived just down the street, and he got me into it. And so like he would just come over and just watch me play it. Like he played it so often, he was just down with watching me play it. And then one night I just I couldn't call his house. It was like at that time, so. Just like snuck down the street and just walks out his window. He woke up. He wasn't even angry. He was like, angry at first. And it was like, oh man, in Metal Gear, something. And he's like, oh, nice. Like, it made him real happy. He's kind of like a nerd. So I think just the idea that this ever happened to him, just, he felt pretty good about it.
Nice.
That's cool. That's a weird story. Like that's normally reserved for a romantic gesture. Throwing rocks in the window.
So
Greg's doing
standing there
for how to get this past this problem in Metal Gear. That's cool.
What about you, Kyle?
Well, Bloodborne, obviously, I was like super stoked. Those games are fucking hard, and I've played pretty much all of them and enjoyed every one. Like, well, not like there's only one Bloodborne, but I played the other Souls games. And
is Bloodborne like a different style or something?
So there was Demon Souls, which is a game that was published by PlayStation, and is owned like the IP is owned by Sony, and it came out for PlayStation 3 exclusively, like years and years ago, and then didn't do that well. So then Dark Souls was published. Like again, they kind of like split it off in its own thing. It was pretty much the exact same game or like style of game, but had a different title because Sony owned the other one. And that got really popular. And then the same makers made Bloodborne as another Sony exclusive. So it's like all in the same, like they're very much play similarly, like with little differences obviously. But Bloodborne is not like the Dark Souls games are like high fantasy, sword and armor, like, sorcery, that kind of thing, like Lord of the Rings style. Where Bloodborne is like a gothic, London kind of, I guess, H.P. Lovecraft style game.
Oh, okay, man, yeah. I know.
Like werewolves and beings from another universe. Yeah, kind of steampunky at times. It's not really, I wouldn't say Steam, none of the technology is like based off of Steam, but I get where Greg's
There's goggles?
There's goggles. You can put goggles on your character, so I immediately understand where he's coming from. But anyway, so I played all those, and I'd gotten right to the very last boss in Demon Souls and never finished it. I got frustrated and gave up. Played all the Dark Souls games when they like came out just to try them out, or like got them on the cheap or whatever. But never finished them. And this one I was like dedicated, especially because Dark Souls 3 comes out in a couple weeks, and I want to buy it. But I was like, I can't justify buying it if I didn't beat the last one. I want to be able to fucking say I did it. So I came back and set my mind to it and finished it. So I was really pretty fucking proud of myself to get through one of these things. And anyway, the other one I think of, though, is Super Mario 64.
Okay.
I was a little kid. Great game.
Big.
It's big, yeah, for a kid, it felt huge. Like, now I could probably sit down and beat that game pretty quickly. But back then, it was tough and felt insurmountable to get, like, beat Bowser at the end. You had to get your 80 stars or whatever to beat him in the first time. Or last time. And I remember getting really close and, like, my mom, like, you tell your mom you're a little kid. I'm not very old. I don't know how old. But telling her, like, oh, I'm getting close. And she, like, sat down in the living room and watched, like, as I was getting close. I was like, oh, I'm going to go fight Bowser for the last time. And then my dad sat down and started watching. I think my uncle came over similar time of the day. And, like, so I had parts of my family, like my brother, my parents, and my uncle, like, watching me, like, high-pressure situation, try to beat, like, I sucked at the game as a little kid, but, like, determined to beat Bowser this last time. Sit down and finally do it and be like, throw my arms up in the air, like, fuck yeah, and like get the pat on the back from Dad, like, you did it, kid.
They throw you up on their shoulders and parade you down.
Yeah.
I thought of my actual, I don't know if it's the greatest, like, achievement, but my greatest memory in gaming, and it's probably the best moment, was when I was a child in kindergarten, my best friend Ryan Stewart's grandmother babysitted us before school. And he had a Super Nintendo, and every morning we'd play Donkey Kong Country. So that game's fucking sick.
Yeah, it's a good game.
And, like, I'm pretty sure there was, like, a 2-player mode where it would just alternate, and, like, You would
One
just,
of you
yeah,
died.
like once you die, you would just go to the other player and you would just keep going. And I would always, I was not as good as him.
Yeah.
He was really good. It was his game. He was really good at it. And I'd die and he'd always make fun of me. And my dream was to be better than him. And as a child, I had night terrors. And my mom, trying to do all this homeopathic weirdos. It's not a weirdo. She's great. But she's always trying to find, like, other ways to cure things. And she bought me these little things called worry dolls. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but they look like little voodoo dolls. And you take them and you say, like, oh, tomorrow I'm worried that this will happen. I hope it doesn't happen. You put it on your pillow and it's supposed to take care of it. So the one night I grab it, I'm like, I'm worried tomorrow I'm going to get my ass kicked in Donkey Kong.
Awesome. Great worry.
Night
terror worthy worry.
I hope I do better. And I put it under, and the next day, he could not do anything. He just kept fucking dying 10 seconds into every game, and I was kicking ass. I was doing so good. Eventually, he ripped the controller out of my hands, grabbed the fucking Super Nintendo, yanked the cords out of the TV, and threw it across the room, and we were never allowed to play it again.
Man, that's like some voodoo shit.
That's awesome.
I know, man.
That's like one of my top 2 fears.
What,
I'm not saying
breaking your Super Nintendo.
No,
or?
black magic.
I'm not saying it worked, but it
But
worked.
That's awesome.
So yeah, conquering my buddy in Donkey Kong Country using black magic was one of my greatest moments in gaming history.
It's one of my greatest fears.
Yeah. Your black magic. That reminds me of another one though. First time I remember beating my, like, I have cousins, older than me cousins. I was like one of the younger people in my extended family. And they'd always, like, they were athletic people, you know. Good, way better at me in every sport I ever played. I was always kind of like, played in the bottom league of most things. They were like, oh, the rep league of everything, you know. Never quite lived up to the rest of the family as far as being athletic. But, like, I remember beating my cousin at NHL at a pretty young age, like on Sega or N64 or whatever it was at the time. And the first time doing that, being pretty fucking proud of myself. Being like, you might be king of the athletic world, but in here, this is my house.
Walking around with a bit of a strut for the next day.
I'm 6 years younger than you, and I'll wreck your shit at some NHL. And yeah, feeling pretty proud when I first did that.
Yeah, I was never really competitive when it came to video games, but like back in the day when you only had so many games, and like you just got your ass kicked every day.
Got so competitive into like the Dragon Ball Z games.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
like,
that's what you got in there.
Those were like some arguing matches. And
like
shit.
for what system?
The PS2, I think.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. PlayStation 1 didn't have any ones that came to America that were Dragon Ball Z. I remember a friend of mine had an import copy.
The titles for these games were
I played downloaded
fucking long as
versions on
shit.
computer.
Like, I can't even tell you what they were called. Like Dragon Ball Z.
Budokai.
Actually, Budokai something fucking 417.
Yeah.
They were fun though. I mean, we'd get really argumentative and yelling, and there'd be like,
I remember
pushing and
it was
shoving.
a day one time when I went over to your place, and there was some big game got released that day. And I can't remember what the fuck it was. And I had bought it, was super excited about it, and played it for a bit, and it was like a Friday or whatever. Or, no, it wasn't Friday, because games don't come on Friday. But anyway, that night I went over to Greg's place, and you had told me, like, you and Justin had gone to the game store that day, and, like, you walked in, and the guy went, like, oh, you're here for this? Like, it was like a Grand Theft Auto or something popular. And he's like, no, hook me up with that new Dragon Ball Z game. And he was like, what? And you and Justin were the only people going into that EV games that day. On like this, whatever crazy game it was. It was something really popular. It was like a new Halo or fucking something like that.
Man, I remember, like, for the longest time, all we cared about was I Heart Katamari and Dragon Ball Z games.
You guys are just really Asian at heart.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, yeah.
Just like in a basement with pillows in the window, so you had no time frame what day it was, and basically just like 24 hours of napping and playing video games. Like you just lose track of what time it was. Ordering pizza.
So there's a whole lot of weed in there too.
Oh yeah, but ordering pizza like up until like 2:30 in the morning, and then again at like 11. So you just you had pizza all the time. It was a really disorienting time. Like you had no idea what time of the day it was.
To have that much spare time, that would be fantastic.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, this was fucking years ago.
That's when you were
Now it's hard to get
right?
3 of us together to have
like
an hour to do a podcast. Let alone, you can get a bunch of friends together to spend 3 nights awake like all day playing whatever fucking game it was.
Yeah.
No one asked for, no responsibility.
Well, see, this all reminded me of our buddy Sam's garage, where we would just sit there and drink and smoke pot and rot away. Like about a dozen of us every single day in our buddy's parents' garage.
Yeah.
But we had an N64 and it was like 2009. But we were still rocking.
Yeah, the Xbox 360 was available.
Yeah.
That wasn't, no one could afford that shit.
No, but then we rocked the Smash Brothers.
Oh yeah.
And that got competitive.
Yeah.
Who is your Smash Brothers character?
In the first one?
Yeah.
I played Kirby.
Kirby, you're a little. See,
Everyone
all
hates
the
the Kirby player in
slimy,
N64.
really good players always pick Kirby, like Mitchie C.
No, Mitchie C will wreck your shit with Ness. He got so good at that stuff, he was playing the worst characters possible and wrecking everybody.
Yeah.
And Mitch would
ever
get mad when I'd beat him with Kirby, because I was at least confident enough to pull that
Smash
out.
Bros. Never hit Kingston, eh?
Well, I wasn't really here for that. I wasn't.
No.
Like, I don't know, like Justin and shit, like everyone else plays it. Again, I'm not like the gamer guy, and Nintendo and I never really clicked.
Yeah, you're a PlayStation guy through and through. You've always been. But, yeah, most other people grew up on the Nintendo.
I remember, like, as a kid, wanting a PlayStation 1, and then this, like, a friend of mine got a 64, and so I was really jealous, and, like, I told him, I was like, no, I want a 64. And when we got it, I never even used it, and first chance I got a PlayStation 1. And that was, like, how we started with, like, being, like, that's how you start, like, I got a brother, and how we started splitting and buying 2 of everything. Just because we had, like, the 64 we shared, I was like, no, this is stupid, I don't want it. I want PlayStation 1.
My brother was like that. We'd get the, like, first console, it'd be like, oh, we decided we're going to get the 64, and then we got it for Christmas as a gift or something like that, right? And then he would maybe it was just he was sick because I was playing it all the time and I would never let him give a turn. And then it was like his birthday would come around, he'd be saving up every little bit of allowance.
You guys are both older brothers.
And he'd buy the fucking
new
new
one.
one.
That's not the point. I mean, I genuinely
That
just
might
didn't
be
like
it.
the Nintendo.
I love the Nintendo. See, I was happy to keep the old one. Just
He likes very certain games. Basically just Zelda.
Pokemon.
That's the only... And
That's
Mario. Mario's a cool, like, franchise. Pokemon, yeah.
And Final Fantasy, I guess, is...
Well, now that's a
No,
Sony
not
thing.
anymore.
Yeah.
It used to be a Nintendo thing, and then when
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII came out, that was like solidified it as a PlayStation thing, and now it's pretty much thought of as that now.
Well, I was just going to ask you guys, out of any old video game franchises, what's something you want to see, like a new sequel for?
Oh, like bring it back? Like an
Bring
old
it
one?
back, reboot it, do a sequel for it.
For video game?
Yeah.
There's kind of like, there's like Super Mario 64
I'm pumped for
Sunshine
Red
and
Dead
stuff.
2.
Oh,
They've
that's-
announced
they
that
haven't done
recently.
That's not that old though. But yeah, I think of like Super Mario 64. They did like Sunshine and Super Mario Galaxy and Galaxy 2. Kind of sequels. So like, in that same vein as a 3D Mario.
Yeah.
But they haven't done just an actual like Back in the Castle. I would just play a remake of Super Mario 64. If they just made it look newer.
Yeah.
And just,
They haven't done that?
They did it for the Nintendo DS, but it didn't really look any fucking better.
Yeah.
Because it's on the
portable.
Nintendo DS.
Yeah.
And the controls were shit because it was on a DS. Like, I hated that first system. Didn't have a joystick on the original one, only a D-pad. That's not good for controlling Mario.
What about you, Greg?
I'm just trying to think, like, all the most fun I've had playing games were Star Wars games. So, I don't know, I can't really think, like, they did just redo Battlefront. Though I was saying, remember, like, that Republic Commando, where it was, like, the Tom Clancy games?
Oh, it was like... Yeah, I think it's Republic Commando. That sounds right. Yeah, where you're like kind of like a SWAT team of
Yeah, I don't know,
stormtroopers.
that'd be a fun game that, like, I don't know, online play has gotten pretty good. Because I think that was, like, a one-player game that you played, right?
Yeah, I don't know if there was multiplayer in that. I don't remember.
I don't know, maybe not, but maybe if there was online play, I didn't have internet capabilities for that back in the day. So I wouldn't play it by myself.
Yeah.
But nowadays, like with online shit, I think that'd be a fun game. But again, that's just games that are already out that just aren't Star Wars.
See, I'm just hoping and praying every day. Some days crying.
Yeah? You really get teary-eyed, Yarny style?
Hoping that they make fucking Skate 4.
Oh, yeah! Fuck! Skate 4.
That is
Yeah,
the
you're right.
game that needs to be made, man.
Oh, yeah?
That franchise it changed skateboarding games. It managed to take Tony Hawk, which was widely accepted as a great game, and make it look like an arcade.
And then the new
joke.
Tony Hawk sucked ass.
Yeah, it was
Tony Hawk
garbage.
5. Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure there's some legal reasons why they can't do a new one.
I think they probably have trouble getting some of the pro skaters, but they don't really need that. I don't care if the pro skaters aren't in it.
No.
Just put...
The game mechanics.
Yeah, just make it with... I create my own dude, and I'm skating with a bunch of nobodies in an open world. Having fun. Like
I think they have a Street League skateboarding game, but I don't think it's the same.
I've never seen it, no. EA made the skate games, and they
did a solid job. Well, because they use the whole toggle system, which they do for all their sports games. And,
like the right stick thing.
Yeah, and it gets the fact for you're setting up your tricks, where you're putting your toes where you would on a real skateboard. That's fun for real skateboarders to do. Yeah, the technicality. Yeah. It's not like, I go up a ramp and I can do a 900 right away just because I can hold right on a stick for long enough. It actually takes a little bit of you can crank the difficulty up in it to the point where if you don't land straight, where I can do tricks in real life that I can't do in that game. Because the physics, I guess the physics aren't proper, but it makes it that hard. Yeah, and it's fun to play a sports game that way, Yeah, that's cool. You're right. Those are great games. Yeah, I like those a lot. And it's dead for some reason, and there's no good skateboarding games anymore. Nothing. It feels like skateboarding in general just kind of dropped off the fucking map. Like when we were kids. I don't know, man. I know you're still into the scene a bit, and you're paying attention. In the scene, it's big as ever. But it's it used to be so mainstream. Everybody. Maybe it was just because I was younger. Maybe that's still a thing for kids. They're got to go buy their first board. And see, I think it's become a little more yuppie. The whole skateboard scene. A lot of longboards and... well, no, I'm talking about where, back in the day, skateboarders were, the extreme guys. They were kind of like the badasses. Where these days, we're half the skateboarders are hipsters. Yeah, that has to do with the punk scene kind of blending into the hipster scene. The thing. I guess so, but the whole being a punk and being a skateboarder is nothing like it was back in the day. Yeah. No, yeah. But you're right, I don't know. At least here, where we are, they kind of grew up hand in hand. It was you skateboarded, you played Tony Hawk, you listened to some, music that, those games introduced you to. You got into the more hardcore version of that music, you became a punk. At least this was my path of growing up. And, and then you still skateboarded on occasion, and then now you're basically a yuppie, and you probably own a fucking longboard, and you cruise to your high-paying six-figure job, going down the hills. So this isn't your story anymore. No, they cut off there. But then that's what had happened. Yeah. Fuck, I hate longboards. Yeah, I like how you give shit to longboarders in front of, whenever you're on the street. I've heard you yell at them. And also anyone wearing salmon-colored pants. Those are both funny reasons to yell at someone. But you do it the most passive-aggressive way possible. You're like, hey man, nice longboard. Or hey man, sick salmon. Well, yeah. But at least I do it passive-aggressively, where I can be like, you look like a fucking douchebag. Yeah, I've also seen you do that, depends on how much you've had to drink. Yeah, there's a good 30% chance that he might actually think I'm complimenting him and have a really nice day because of it. Yeah, there you go. You're lifting him up, man. Very, very slim chance. Lift him up before you knock him down. Yeah, you're right, though. Skate is a good game. They should come back. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think of something else. There hasn't... All the good games get 20,000 Goldeneye 2. They remade GoldenEye beat for beat with Daniel Craig on the Wii. Really? Yeah. Daniel Craig? Yeah. They put him in. In GoldenEye. Yeah, in GoldenEye. And then but you had a fucking Wii controller. It was weird. I played it with, my old roommate at the time, and, but to, zoom in, you literally had to, lean into the, with the stupid Wii pointer. The controls were shit. They were worse than the N64. I remember, and that's some bad fucking controller. Paintball mode. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And, DK mode. Big head mode. Yeah, it was all the awesome shit. Yeah. Man, that game, the concept thinking back is so hilarious, where you would have 4 guys playing against each other, but on a screen basically the size of my laptop, divided by 4. Yeah. And we could all see what each other are doing. Yeah, but it had something to do with the low poly look of the game. You could tell what was going on. All the scenery looked the same, so you couldn't really screen peek. It didn't really matter. And even when you were screen peeking, it took a little bit of skill to do it. And because things were simple and shapes were simple, it didn't get so confusing. How did it take skill? You don't wait to run down a hallway? Because you said, because everything looks the same. You really had to know the map. You couldn't just be but we knew the map after a while. Oh yeah, I hear you. There's actually a game, an indie game that came out recently.
I don't know if it's officially out or if it's still in early access, but I think it's called Screen Sheet is the game, and it's like, it seems to me like it revolves around GoldenEye, like that inspiration, where your character himself is invisible, and the only way to know where the other person is by screen sheeting. The whole point is to, like, 4-player split screen, 4 people on the map, and you're judging where the other person is off of what you see.
That's very interesting. I feel like that would get frustrating after a while.
But it's a cool idea. I haven't played it myself, but I thought it was like, that's pretty smart. But the problem of getting 4 people in a fucking room to play that, because it's useless online.
Well, an experimental game like that serves its purpose, because maybe right now that might be boring, but they can use an element of that in a different way to do something cool.
Yeah, it's usually how indie games work, right? It's just like this one idea that eventually gets implemented into bigger games. And
I'm surprised no one's really ripped off like Fez or anything yet. You know?
Well, I would say that Fez kind of early inspires into The Witness. Those are both indie games. But
I'm talking about just like the simple like changing. Rotating a 2D world.
Oh yeah, I guess. But I guess really there's not big games that are 2D anymore, other than Mario. And in fairness, they did. I'll name you the one: Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker. Played that?
You almost couldn't say that.
I said it fine. Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker.
That is no, I've never played that.
So it's a Nintendo game. It was like a kind of. It wasn't like a full price game. It's like their version of a cheaper game or whatever. But there is like that rotating 3-dimensional cube, and you can only really see it from a certain aspect, and you're spinning it around to be able to reveal different sides of the cube to like navigate your way through it. So Nintendo did kind of a little bit rip that off.
But yeah, so we should bring back a few games, and a few games should stay dead.
Yeah, for sure.
We can probably agree with
that's
that.
the opinion.
We'll take a short break right now, and we'll be back in a minute.
Awesome. I'm going to check that out later.
There's nothing about that I dislike.
I don't think she's listened to episode yet.
It's so good.
It's still scary, right?
It makes me uncomfortable.
Scary as shit. New episodes every Tuesday. A B&D Network podcast. Scary as shit. We're not that scary.
And we're back. So, Cody, you got something to go with?
Well, yeah, I was kind of making fun of myself the other day, because every once in a while, I find a top 40 song catchy.
And that disappoints you?
It really fucking kills me inside.
Like you lost?
Just because you like you like Kanye.
That's different, though. Okay, no, just hear me out. So, the other day, I'm just humming this song while I was working in the restaurant, just humming it along. I'm like, this song's pretty catchy. Like, who sings that? And they're like, Justin Bieber. I'm like, fuck me. I'm like, shit. I fucked up by asking that question.
He's a homegrown Canadian, man. That's a disappointment.
Yeah, I know, but like,
Still,
I don't know. You know me. I'm into underground shit. I'm kind of a hipster douche.
Yeah. Yeah,
But,
for a man who hates hipsters as much as you do,
man,
to suddenly be disappointed in yourself about liking Justin Bieber.
Yeah, his new song.
Unironically.
His new song's fucking catchy. And I was really disappointed in myself for liking that. But I was going to ask you guys, what guilty pleasure songs do you guys have? Or have had over the years? I know you probably have a bunch, but you don't even consider them guilty pleasures.
No, see, because he's a fucking regular-ass human. If you like the song, you like the fucking song. Who
Yeah.
cares? You're judging your merit on, like, I shouldn't like this, so fuck, I'm a piece of shit.
What, you're saying that's not a real thing?
I'm saying people have that, but that's a dumb fucking thing to have.
So what, you're going to say you don't even have one then?
I don't know.
Man, if I listen to a Justin Bieber song on the radio, I wouldn't even know, number one, same as you. I don't fucking listen to the radio. Or have any idea what a top 40 song is.
You wouldn't even find it catchy because you're a goddamn robot.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. The music I like is mostly probably fucking ridiculous, like 80s shit or something that would be considered, like, other people like ironically or something like that.
Yeah, you can get away with that these days.
But I just, I don't. That's what I like. So if I like it, it's not a guilty thing. I just like it and then just move on.
Yeah.
I don't know. I listen to a lot of new country
Yeah, oh yeah.
So I mean, like, it's
you
bad.
fucked up our YouTube feed.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, and I know that's bad. So, because
like what name drop?
I don't know, it's embarrassing.
No, that's the point. Name drop.
He said he liked Justin Bieber. You got someone worse than that? Yeah. In the public eye is considered terrible?
I mean, like, I know the words to some Luke Bryan songs.
I don't even know who
that is. Exactly. It's good.
Well, some listeners might.
I know. And I mean, Jason Aldean's alright, but I like old country more. I mean, Merle Haggard just died. We had a moment of silence yesterday.
Where? Here in the apartment where you by yourself?
Well, he texted me and he said Merle Haggard died, and I didn't reply for like 5 minutes.
That was your moment of silence. You did. So does that mean there's a moment of silence between all of our text message conversations? Because fucking you're both the worst at getting back to somebody quickly.
We're just always paying respects, man.
Merle Haggard died, man.
No, I was at the bar.
I
was at the bar and I was with some people and they were actually quite upset. We all took our hats off and we had a round of shots and we threw some Merle on the radio.
I don't even know. So no idea who that is.
You don't know?
No. I assume I've listened to it by.
We were listening to him before we started recording.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. He passed away. That's sad.
He died on his birthday. That's kind of weird.
It's pretty epic.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
That is weird. That doesn't happen very often. I assume.
There's something cool about that.
Yeah.
He just rounded it up.
Makes sense.
Even numbers.
Yeah.
Make me feel more comfortable.
That's kind of sweet. On his grave.
Just the same date.
Just the one date. Yeah. And people would be all confused and shit. I don't know. Probably not. It's probably pretty obvious what happened.
You put birthdays on, like, you put years on graves?
I would put the date and then just...
Because it happened on the birthday? You're like, I'll make an exception. I'm putting April whatever on it.
It's neat. It's sad, though.
But no, I've never felt guilty about listening to Merle Haggard.
What's
I agree.
What's the celebrity death that bugged you the most?
Heath Ledger, probably.
Really?
Yeah, because to be honest, guilty pleasure again.
You like A Knight's Tale?
No, I like 10 Things I Hate About You.
Alright.
See, I didn't feel guilty about liking A Knight's Tale. I did like A Knight's Tale.
That's fair.
But I was really into 10 Things I Hate About You growing up, and I liked the Batman movie he was into, and I thought he was a solid actor, and I remember being like, oh, fuck, damn. People I like that aren't old are going to start dying. Because I was fairly young, you know?
Yeah, I guess we weren't that old.
I wasn't fairly young, but I was at the age where, like, but now it's like every year people I respect pass away,
exactly.
Know?
Like the things you grew up with.
And it's just going to be more and more because we know more people.
For me, it was Robin Williams. It was like...
Yeah.
Like, I watched Aladdin. I loved that as a kid. You know, Hook, one of my favorite movies ever. And, like, I watched his stand-up when I was a kid. And, like...
For some reason, I wasn't surprised by that.
It wasn't necessarily surprising, but it's sad. I
it was very sad, yeah.
That one busted me up.
What about you, Greg? Who made you cry?
Well, I was a little shook when Han died.
Alright. I'll take that as that's Greg's answer. That's his real answer.
That
is. Alright, speaking of Han dying, today was, or at least the day
it's
of
so
recording.
Easy to segue back into Star Wars.
Especially when you talk about Star Wars.
Yeah. So it was the release of the Rogue One trailer, which, for I suppose most people, the first time they've seen any of those trailers, there was a leaked trailer that came out almost a year ago, probably.
Yeah, that was weird. It was all like...
It was a Comic-Con one.
On someone's phone, basically.
But anyway, you guys watch it?
Yeah. I think my opinion might be a little controversial.
Oh, yeah? Alright, hit me with it.
Yeah, believe it or not, he didn't...
Well, just right off the bat, it doesn't have the epicness of any of the Star Wars movies. It is a spin-off movie through and through. That's what it seems.
Should they not reserve the epicness though for?
Well, why fucking make it at all?
No, but
if it's not going to be if you're going to make a movie, make it the best fucking movie ever.
Well, why? What's to say this isn't a great movie?
It just doesn't seem like it's just going to be all references, and nothing's going to have the substance that one day we'll look back on and we'll be like, oh, that Rogue One, that really set the path for what happened.
Okay. So it's not part of the main storyline.
No, I just feel like
it's not pushing the plot forward.
It's filler.
Well, yeah, I mean, it literally is a filler plot line. Yeah, I get that. And literally last week we did, both of us rip on Greg for liking all of that stuff. I get, But, and I guess, like...
I want to know what you guys think, though, because me and Greg watched it, but we didn't really talk about it.
I watched it really quickly. I mean, I could watch it.
And you don't like trailers in general.
No, I don't like trailers if I don't know anything about the movie, okay? So, like, I love watching trailers if the trailer's not going to ruin the movie for me. You know, like, if I'm not running risk of being tricked in the trailer. So, I mean, like, watching a trailer for a Star Wars movie, I have no risk. I'm going to enjoy that movie. The trailer's not going to ruin it.
Why can't they trick you just as much as any other trailer?
They might be able to, but ultimately it's...
You're still upset about Inception. You know, that trailer, you always bring this up, and this is exactly what I was going to bring up as a point. You're upset about Inception because you thought that movie was going to be something else, and it ended up being a heist movie. And you were upset about it, correct?
Yeah, that's basically true.
This movie is a fucking heist movie.
Yeah, but that's fine. We know that going in.
Okay, so you're fine with it. But you were so mad that was a heist movie.
I just won't ever let that happen again. I'm just not going to get tricked by movie trailers. So, I mean, I'm only going to watch movie trailers if I've already wanted to see the movie beforehand. You know, if I don't know anything about the movie and, like, I see a trailer, I'm not going to... That's not enough. Like, I don't care to see a trailer because trailers are meant to lie to me.
I've seen you shake in giddiness when a Keanu Reeves trailer comes on in the theater on multiple occasions.
You're only really, like reaffirming my point.
You would have saw it because it's Keanu Reeves. All right, fair enough. I get it. All right, point taken.
Another thing I thought that was really weird with it is that they're going with another female lead. I don't have a problem with it.
Cody hates women. Another one of them Jew flicks and they're women.
Call back to a dark moment.
No, to be honest, anybody that wasn't listening to other podcasts thinks that I'm being racist, not Cody.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, no. Jesus Christ.
Anyways, yeah.
So that throws you off, or you're surprised?
No, I think it's a weird choice by them.
I don't think it's weird at all. I think it's they knew that last one. Well, I guess they didn't know it was going to be successful, but it had a female lead in 7. That worked out fine for him. I like Rey a lot. I'm happy that this is another female lead. They had like 30 goddamn years of male leads in Star Wars and almost no female characters.
I don't know. Who else was casting it? Because I know we saw Forrest Whitaker in it, but I feel like that there were some other main, like, pretty famous people that cast in that movie. I almost want to look at the
yeah, I only watched it like one quick way through, and yeah, Forrest Whitaker was the only face I recognized, which was surprising because I didn't know he was going to be in that, and I was like, Forrest Whitaker.
I just feel like it's going to lack story. It's going to be one of those movies. Like, I remember when I first watched Hellboy, I was expecting it to be like, oh, this introduction to this big, amazing universe and all this shit that's going to go on, and you get introduced to the characters, and then it's just one mission. And that's all the movie is. There's no epicness to it. And I feel like that's what this is going to be. They're going to introduce us to what should be this grand thing, but it's just going to be one mission. It's like it should have been an episode of a television series.
No, but I don't know. That sounds great to me. Well, and Mad Mikkelsen's going to be in it, or Mad Mikkelsen, yeah, like Hannibal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And he's great. And I don't even know how to say that other guy's name. Alan Tudyk.
Oh, yeah, the guy from Firefly.
Man, I don't know. So there's going to be a lot of men in this movie. She looks
what the fuck?
That wasn't what he was
she's
that's
actually
not an issue.
She's the only woman in it, so don't worry. Oh, Mon Mothma.
Shut the fuck up.
She looks like a dude.
But, I don't know. To me, what you're describing is exactly what this movie's going to be. It's a heist movie. It's a team of people together for one big moment. And I love a good heist movie. I like Inception, unlike Greg, because he's crazy. And I love, like, Ocean's 11. That's not how they're... You're like shaking your head. Because...
See, I did like Inception, but...
I'm like, trying to think of what was a good heist movie. Oh, that animated one there with Fox and George Clooney. Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Okay.
But anyway.
That's probably the best heist movie.
Alright.
Singing.
I like that movie a lot, yeah. But there you go. I don't know. I like heist movies.
I'm down for Rogue One, man. I don't know. Like, some of the attack scenes and shit look pretty awesome.
Yeah, it looks amazing. They've got the effects nailed.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Star Wars. Like, they're not going to skimp on the fucking special
No,
effects.
I think it's good, because it's the same thing. Like, they put out all these books and shit, you know, these mini comic series, so, like, they're
just doing what the superhero movies are doing.
And
yeah, they're making it into a big universe.
Good.
And that's good. I want to watch that.
Yeah.
I do. And maybe 5 years from now, I'm going to listen to this podcast and go, Kyle, you fucking idiot. They've ruined it. They've done it too much. I'm sick of Star Wars. Just like I was, sick of a lot of comic book shit. But I don't know. To me, I'm so excited. They're riding high right now on the wave. Maybe this one sucks and then I get disappointed and who knows. But right now it looks pretty good. But I did want to bring up one other thing about Star Wars that I was thinking about the other day. And it's something that bugged me in episode 7. And in general, it was a scene in the trailer that made me think of it. Where they're putting in the, like, kind of, the gun.
That was my favorite shot in the trailer.
Looks cool, right? It's cool.
Wait, what scene?
So, like, in the trailer, it's like when they're pushing the, dimple into the Death Star. Like, where the gun part comes out.
Okay.
It's just like them finally completing like what seems like
because you always wondered like is
how
that part of the structure or it's like so that is a separate thing.
Yeah, and they like push it in and it's like them partially completing it. There's a weird thing in Star Wars that they fuck up a lot that drives me nuts, and it's a sense of scale. The universe itself seems so grand and awesome, like this huge overarching thing with all these planets and all these individual things happening. But in certain scenes, and I'll bring it up in episode 7, like, they just weirdly don't understand how big things are, and they fucking... So, in episode 7, there's that part where, right after... Spoilers for episode 7, I'm sure every listener's listened to it. After Han dies, right? And, Rey and Finn see it happen, and they take off into the, like, running in the planet that is the current Death Star, whatever the fuck they call it on that.
Yeah.
Right? And then, suddenly... 5 minutes, or like less than 5 minutes in movie time, fucking Kylo Ren's in front of them. Just gets there, right? Suddenly in front of him, not sure how. He's got force, he's fast, I guess. Let's give him an excuse. But then they're like, suddenly enough distance away from the giant thing that's exploding, as well as like most of this planet exploding, but getting close to everything. When they pull back is gigantic. There's a planet, and the distance they cover is just completely unrealistic that they would get that far.
What's hilarious is you're talking about scale. The one scene, they literally show the new planet to scale to the Death Star.
Yeah, and like... And the Death Star is originally described as the size of a small moon. That's fucking big.
The amount of time it would take to overhaul a planet.
Oh, it's ridiculous, right? Like, it would...
That'd take more than 30 years, man. I don't care how many fucking people they have working on this shit.
Another thing...
Yeah, okay, there are aliens in this universe.
Fair enough. Like, and technology that's really crazy.
Laborers.
Aliens.
Yeah. Well, just crazy technology. I'll give them that. Like, maybe it's, just something we can't fathom. They can plot skip that stuff. But the people running thing, people run at X amount fast. And that... Like, think of the Death Star in episode 4, right? Luke and, like, Han and Obi-Wan floating in. They get caught in the tractor beam, right? And they describe it as, it's like a small moon. Let's call it a really fucking small moon, as far as moons go. They float in there, and within, assuming under an hour or so,
maybe a small
Obi-Wan
really small.
Walks to the one tractor beam retractor component of that whole thing.
In Dragon Ball Z there, they live on that one planet thing there. The guy can run around it in like 2 minutes.
That's a tiny planet, and it's a godlike speed.
And I'm just saying, like...
Obi-Wan's a busted asshole dude.
Pluto is a big moon, and that would be a small planet.
No, it's not a moon. It's a planetoid. Yeah.
But whatever, so I mean, it's even big, but it's still pretty small. So I mean, like, a small moon might be really small.
I get you. It must,
maybe
that's
a small
asteroid
moon
levels. How quickly...
What's the difference between a big asteroid and a small moon? Maybe it's
I get you, but I mean, clearly it's fucking huge, Greg. Like, even if it was one of those ships, it would take some time to get to the important part.
Okay, so like, if Neil deGrasse is listening,
Neil deGrasse Tyson, yeah,
maybe he can help us.
Help us with astrophysics.
He'll be on our next podcast, and he'll help us figure out.
You don't need a fucking astrophysicist to understand.
No, we do.
That it's a big place.
Look, all right. Just so we can figure out the difference between a big asteroid and a small moon. Maybe the Death Star wasn't as big as you think it was.
But it looks fucking big, right? We can admit that that's true. Like, it's fucking huge, and then it's weird that they keep the tractor beam as closest to the place where you bring all the ships for the tractor beam. And that on a giant... We know the size of planets. In episode 7, we understand that you can't run between most of that planet exploding, like, and everything happens so tightly in this little area. I get that it's all I'm nitpicking, but I'm just saying
all
the
he
scale
did was
is
like
weird.
fucking get on an elevator. It's like a light speed elevator inside the Death Star. Like, fuck.
Okay, I guess you're right. It's just that I'm just saying there's a little bit of finickiness going on in the scale, and it bugged me.
I think there's a lot of finickiness in the Star Wars plotline, but
Yeah, that's like, don't even bother.
I get that, like, you're just lucky. If you're like force sensitive, that's basically what you have, super luck, as well as like the ability to trick people.
no charisma.
no, your charisma's jacked. You can just wave your hand and like things happen for you.
Oh, okay. I guess
It's all
you have
charisma,
super
luck,
charisma to the point
and
where
agility.
like you
That's
don't
what
even
you got.
need it.
You got not that big a strength.
You don't have to be very likable.
Yeah.
I'm thinking more Anakin.
Yeah, he's not a very likable person to us, but he was super likable in that universe. People liked him.
I thought he was alright. The new episode or the final episode of Star Wars Rebels just came out, and it was pretty touching. Like, because you always like kind of, you don't really see a transition point between Anakin and Darth Vader. You know, there's like some little moments in episode 3 where you see him. I mean, like I said, little
Slaying younglings.
Yeah, right. But I mean, you don't. You're still like, and then Luke saying, "Oh, there's still Anakin's still in there somewhere, and he wants to find him and save him and shit." You seem like that. You don't really see this like transition. It's like very cut and dry, Anakin and then Darth Vader. But in the final episode of Rebels, it is pretty awesome. Ahsoka squares off with Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Right, Ahsoka being like Anakin's Padawan.
So is this like post like he's in the suit of armor,
Mhm.
Vader? See, I would just like that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. In that you saying that you don't see the transition. There's 3 movies of transition.
No, you
see the whole struggle.
No, but that's what I mean,
6
like, so
So
hours.
they're obviously going to kill her off.
well, that's not obvious.
What do you mean that's not obvious?
We don't know that.
Well,
Oh, we don't know.
if she's fighting Darth...
Okay, well, I feel you.
we don't know that.
No, whatever. It was good though, man. She like cuts his helmet a little bit, and you see just a little bit of his face, and so you can just see like half Anakin's face, half Darth Vader's face.
Is it all like fucked up looking like
So
the end
hair?
of Jedi?
no hair, but
No
you
hair.
see like kind of his eyes that look like when he's all evil in Episode 3. But it was good. Some touching moments and words.
Burn yourself to
exchanged.
stop. Yeah, that makes sense. Burn yourself to stop growing hair in that spot. Yeah,
It was good. I'm a bit upset. So they said there's only one more season of Rebels, and then they're gonna do a new show. So I'm excited for that.
Really, only 1 more season? I thought that should have gone on forever.
Well, no, but it's
Long
good though
Wars.
because there's so many time frames, right? And so this show is only this now. If they keep it going, I think it's gonna come too close to Episode 4. Right, so now they can end this and then do another show, which maybe like is more controlled and will lead into Episode 4. If it's still continuing this timeline, which
Or maybe
looks
it
like
could be
they're doing.
anything, right?
It really could be anything. But it's pretty good. I don't know, the season finale was phenomenal.
That-
Darth Maul.
Makes me think of a game they gotta bring back. They gotta bring back Old Republic. Knights of the Old Republic. Not the MMO Old Republic, but...
Well, they redid it for phones.
Yeah, but I don't want to play that shit on my fucking phone. I want to play like a new one on consoles with awesome graphics.
I never played that one. It was like a RPG, right?
Yeah. It's like a BioWare RPG. So, did you ever play like Dragon Age or Baldur's Gate? It was like in the vein of that. But Star Wars. And those were awesome. And at the time they came out, I was too young to really appreciate how awesome they were.
Those were...
Nowadays, I'd like to play that.
the Knights of the Republic was probably one of the best games I've ever played.
Yeah, like they're cool. They like felt giant and like a whole, you got to become a Jedi or...
At the time, though, I think that's one of the reasons why this universe got so out of hand. One of the good reasons for doing a canon reboot, I would say, is the Knights of the Republic games. Like, for them to call anything that happened in those games canon was...
Well, yeah,
it's pretty fucked, because that's a huge deal.
That was the cool thing about that, though, when it came out, was we'd known Star Wars so much as just that, like, the Jedi are dead kind of thing. And it's like but to see them back when it was like a thriving order and like that battle between the Sith and the Jedi and the Republic still existing, it was cool to see like that, what it was like beforehand.
Well, in the last episode of Rebels, is it too soon for spoilers? I don't care. Kanan fucking gets hurt.
Do you think the computer was going to tell you no? You looked at the laptop like, yeah, is it too soon? No, it's not saying anything. All right.
Anyway, Kanan gets hurt and he picks up a mask and puts it on. But they're in a Sith temple and the mask was from the battle of like one of the last greatest battles between Jedi and Sith. And so there's just lightsabers and masks lying around. Which is kind of like a throwback, I think, to the Knights of the Republic era.
Yeah, like when there was... Like, yeah, the temples were everywhere and all
well,
that.
Just even going to a Sith temple, where Jedis would be storming a temple. That's
cool.
That's like 1,000 years ago, at least, in the Star Wars.
That's something I love about Star Wars is that it always feels like there's all this history to it, but you don't necessarily see it all. You get a couple glimpses in those games.
Does it not seem like there's like no technological advances? Because it seemed like the world was way better off 1,000 years ago or 10,000 years ago.
As a
and the
kid,
Jedis
that drove
were
me
the
nuts.
peak.
You see, like, the Naboo fighters, like those yellow and silver ships in Episode 1.
Well, that's only like 30 years.
Yeah, and they look super fancy and cool. I'm like, that ship's clearly better than the X-Wing. What the fuck happened?
Yeah, but you have to think about it. The X-Wings were rebels, so they have shitty...
They have shitty stuff. I get that.
Stuff. And
but
TIE fighters like pretty sleek.
Yeah, I get. They look distinctly like.
They didn't make the TIE fighters look better in the new one.
No,
everyone
and I
spent
get
all
that.
their money during the Clone Wars, and then immediately after they like switched to some sort of like dictatorship. I'm sure there wasn't a lot of money going around for private resources.
Yeah,
it was like,
and they weren't about flashiness.
After the Clone Wars, it's like you're not allowed to have a private army. Like fuck that. Your Naboo fighters all got grounded and fucking put in a storage unit.
That's probably true.
Well,
that makes
stripped
sense.
for parts.
No, it totally makes sense when I think about it. But as a kid, it bothered me. I was like, why? These look so cool. It's like a Ferrari of like spaceships, and then we're dealing with like this fucking beater Buick the rebels are using.
So speaking about money going around in the Star Wars universe, I'm sure we've all spent a pretty penny on their merchandise. Like Greg, you have all the new comics.
Yeah.
Kyle, like what stuff have you collected of Star Wars? Do you have action figures back in the day or anything?
I got a bunch of it. I have a Force FX lightsaber. I spent a bunch of money on. I have a Lego Millennium Falcon that I also spent a bunch of money on. I buy t-shirts and all that shit.
When I was a child, when Episode 1 came out, I collected all the pop cans, which are actually on display
That's
right beside
a cheap
us.
collectible that you still flaunt. Like, it's awesome. Yeah, it's funny.
It's weird.
It's not cheap.
Some of them are empty.
Like I had a hunt in multiple cities in different stores.
How many are there?
I would open. There's like I don't know,
24.
No, like probably 20. I would like open. I would open cases in the stores and like peek in, see what the characters were, and not buy that case.
That's awesome. I remember being on the hunt for shit like that, but it wasn't Star Wars cans as a kid. It was like Pokemon.
Like shit like that. I was going to ask you guys, like, what obscure shit have you collected in the days? Like shit that's just like not regular stuff to collect, like hockey cards or Pokemon cards.
Well, yeah. See, that's where I go. It's always it was all about the fads really as a kid. It was the Pokemon cards. It was the Crazy Bones.
Yeah, I never did the Crazy Bones.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a worldwide thing. I'd be interested to hear if anybody commented like, "What the fuck are Crazy Bones? You weird Canadians collecting." Yeah, that was a big one. I don't know, like obscure shit. Nothing really, like nothing at all. Like when I collect something, it's like. It's
well, what about you, Greg? Your shelves are full of weird shit.
Yeah, a lot of memorabilia, but it's always Star Wars stuff, I guess, right now.
Yeah, it is mostly Star Wars stuff.
I love Star Wars action figures and, a lot of comic books on display. It's good, though. It's good for the soul, a hobby.
Well, like, collecting in general, these days, with having a pull list and shit, we're obviously collectors.
Well, you know what? Sorry to go back. These might be kind of obscure, but the hobby's not obscure, but the ones that we have are, and that's autographs. We're doing pretty good at getting some autographs.
Yeah, pretty much.
Actually, we got a lot of autographs.
It feels a little cheesy. Well, with a comic guy, it's normal, but like we've been getting some musicians' autographs lately.
When you're drunk, you're right. It's like you don't want to be that guy, but you just like pound a Mickey of whiskey and just become that guy.
Yeah,
you just say fuck it.
But when you wake up the next morning, it's cool to have. You know?
Your moment of shame is washed away, and you see an autograph on something. We've got a nice autograph collection, so
it's building, and hopefully we'll get some good stuff in the future. Well, especially with TCAF coming up in about a month. Me and Greg are talking about going to that. That's going to be a great time.
I don't know if you guys ever heard of Jeff Lemire. If you haven't, you should just listen to any of our podcasts. But Jeff Lemire's going to be there. So
yeah, TCAF, it's one of the comic conventions in downtown Toronto. It's basically in the shadow of Fan Expo, but in my opinion, it's a far superior experience. It's,
less crowds.
And it's more for the alternative comic enthusiasts.
Would you say it's like less, I don't want to say gimmicky, but like...
I'm pretty sure
like it's not...
The deal is, I'm pretty sure the rule is there's no Marvel and DC in the entire building.
That's a rule?
Well, there
think
is...
I can sell the stuff?
No, there is none in the whole place. It's all creator-owned stuff.
Oh,
am I allowed to bring in my Marvel and DC?
So, like, if I go in, I can't go buy a Star Wars t-shirt?
No.
That's kind of cool, then. I like that.
It's all people selling their own stuff.
Because all Fan Expo became...
It's a big mall that you pay to get into.
It's a nerd mall.
Man, it's the best place in town at that time of year to buy a sword.
That sword guy's awesome.
You're not going to find any other sweaty
but they have
sword
guys
salesman.
at King Con, or they did.
Yeah.
But it's not like the popular swords.
But anyway, yeah.
Now, that guy might be a sword salesman. This guy's a sword hustler.
Slick back hair.
Hold this for a second, my friend. Tell me you don't want this. And you're
also
just like, damn it, I do.
the most dangerous aisle in Fan Expo to walk down. Because every time I was near it, someone would be holding a sword and almost stab you in the fucking face with it.
Yes.
They slightly bring it back to like make a pose for a picture.
Oh, man.
And catch you in the eye.
Greg's holding his eyes, just like terrified.
Well, that's what it's like, though. It's terrifying.
But yeah, there's some really good names announced for TCAF. Brian K. Vaughan, Saga, Why the Last Man, all that great shit.
We stand on guard.
We stand on guard. And he's coming... Actually, no, I'm thinking of... Jeff Lemire's also going to be there. But he's coming with Emmy Lennox, the artist from... what's it called? About the kids? Plutona.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure... Oh, man, you're looking at me like, oh, God, I know the answer, maybe? I wasn't sure if you were talking about Brian K. Vaughan's book with kids. The weird segue there. Maybe it was me.
No, yeah. So they're going to be there. Chester Brown's got a new book coming out. He's going to be signing for...
Mary Wept on the Feet of Jesus.
Mary Wept on the Feet of Jesus. It's about...
He knew it. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's a great... Man,
It's
a
an
great
amazing
title.
It's a really good title. It's about prostitution in biblical times.
I would assume so.
Blending all of his genres together.
Yeah, no,
yeah, really.
But I think, to be honest, it's the first book he's put out in a while that is... that's actually expected. It's not something that's like, why? Holy fuck, this is weird for him to do.
I look at it as like kind of weird post-prostitution revelation of Chester.
Well, like he did the prostitution thing. He's been doing the Gospels for years.
Yeah, he's been doing the Gospels
for over almost 30 years now.
Well, yeah, that is. Well, I get that.
Seriously.
No, it's just funny the way you said it. I'm excited for TCAF. I've been working every weekend for a long while, and I'm just going to do normal people things on weekends. Hero Fest is coming up this weekend here in Kingston.
Yeah, it's going to be a weird one. It's like D-list celebrities.
It's the bottom tier of
what kind
of expos, I guess.
Last year, the big draw was guy who dressed as Batman who had a Batmobile that he made. So that's kind of weird.
There's going to be a few good names for comics, some old guys that it'd be nice to maybe just at least meet before they croak.
I'm down. I'm excited.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not. It'll be interesting. It's nice to have them in our hometown, but this one is less exciting to me than other ones.
Yeah, because I don't like where...
It seems like all the bad parts.
People call it Comic-Con, but don't expect a comic convention. That's what really bugs me about cons.
It's become a different thing, yeah. They think of Comic-Con like, oh, this is
that,
where they reveal
That's why I'm really
Iron
happy
Man.
they call it Fan Expo in Toronto, because it's for fans of everything. And it's
Yeah,
cool
and that's
that
what it
they
is,
cater
yeah.
to fans of literally fucking everything.
Which kind of makes it... What sucks about it, though, it's just about the giant crowd.
But it's a good way to enter the scene, man. That was my first con I ever went to.
Yeah, me too. All of us.
And now I've specialized, and I go to TCAF and King
Well, I
Kong.
don't know, now that I think about it, if that's a con, then the first cons that I would have gone to would have been like some sort of weed con. You know, like...
Weed
con?
con?
It's not a con if like 6 of you sit around a fucking bong, right?
But I mean, like, you go and there's like showcases and market vendors and like people hustling and like not just weed. I mean, like bongs. And
That sounds
and,
exactly. Did I describe this wrong? that sounds like
fucking
a bunch of stoners getting.
Sounds
together
like
in a
our
group.
house twice a week.
Yeah, there's people that get like, hey man, this one's old. Do you want my bong? Like, you want to buy some weed? It sounds exactly like growing up.
A weed free market over here. Jeez. Anyway, TCAF.
Okay, actually, I'll get on to this. This is something I gotta bring up. We talk about smoking weed a lot on this podcast. And it's been brought up that I don't smoke weed.
I'm smoking weed right now.
He's currently doing it. And I don't, dislike it at all or anything like that, right? Actively, hating against those people.
Hates weed.
No, it's not a thing. But here's what I will say is actively, and I'm curious about you guys, dislike weed, memorabilia and propaganda.
Oh, yeah.
Everything about it, do you want to buy the 420 shirt and the pot leaf on it? And you guys don't wear that. But does that shit not drive you fucking bananas?
Yeah, dude. So I'm on Reddit all the time, and I subscribe to Art Trees.
Yeah.
Which is their stoner thing.
You're an ant.
And they're like nails on a chalkboard to me. It's I get it. I was 16 once. I was like, Bob Marley, 420 forever. Fuck.
Yeah.
But they're treating it like a culture where it should just
be normal.
Be just something you do. It's not like there's groups of alcoholics out there that do that, you know?
Here's something
I guess there are. There are beer t-shirts and... Yeah, we're all just assholes.
The graphic design involved in weed drives me nuts. When people buy a bong and it's the weird swirly smoke letters have to be on all of it, or you gotta get that sticker of the pot leaf with googly eyes, or whatever the fucking thing is. It's so unattractively shit. I didn't even know.
The podcast, I have a bud of marijuana with the googly eyes on my bottom.
And I didn't even notice that on yours. But it's on every one of them. And it's shit looking. It's bad design. It looks like crap.
Yeah.
And it's hysterical that
there's ways to be a classy stoner though, you know? Our buddy just bought a $300 fucking vape pen.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's kind of the future of weed, you know, especially if it does ever become legalized. That's going to be the way that people can get away with just smoking in public and shit like that.
Yeah, that culture, that weird, rebellious in its most casual sense, that seems like what the weed culture say. It's got to look laid back, but also avant-garde. And it's the weirdest, fucking combination.
You're right, because it goes from lowbrow to highbrow, where you can go down to the corner store and buy some cheesy bong for $20, or you can go to a classy bong shop and literally drop $600 on a glass bong. You know?
Yeah, but even that classy bong shop has got the dumbest fucking logo or whatever it is.
No, there's some fucking nice glass.
They have 420 written somewhere.
No, there's some nice, cool glass companies out these days, dude.
Well, I get it. You go to a professional glass blower or something, but...
I'm pretty sure you went with me downtown Toronto the one time. There was a bong shop where they had their bongs in glass cases and
the
shit.
Friendly Stranger, right?
The Friendly Stranger.
Classy place.
Fantastic, you know?
No, I get it. And everything, and these days actually...
No, I'm sorry, but it looked like a jewelry store.
Well, the thing is, all of them, especially here in Canada now, have switching over to this kind of medical facility look, because that has to do with the fact that it's going to be
clinics legal. Now. It's not a bar.
Yeah,
it's not a head shop.
Suddenly now you're walking into a prescription drugstore look, which is weird and a little more professional, I'll give them, but weird. Because there's still the fucking, instead of a door to the back, there's beads.
You know what, though?
It blocks the smoke, bro.
Yeah.
If you could make old people comfortable with something, then you could, make it generally acceptable to the public. Well, it's not guys like us that are complaining about anything. You know what I mean? We're really not actively vocal of complaining about anything, but old people, fucking two of them make enough noise.
Yeah, no old lady trying to get her cancer treatment thing wants to walk into
even over the last 10 years, it's become so much more socially acceptable.
No, exactly. It's just because, you know what? Yeah. It sounds awful, but I guarantee you that it's an increase in cancer. People are just willing to try weed, and all of a sudden it's you know what? My grandfather smoked weed because he had cancer, and it's just it made him happy or some shit like that. I don't know. It sounds like an awful thing to correlate, but I would imagine that weed is just becoming more and more acceptable.
I watched the one show on Vice, Weed Kit, and the episode was called Getting Kids High. It was all about these children that have cancer that take heavy doses of marijuana.
Or THC.
They take it oil form, medicine almost, in a teaspoon.
A droplet.
Yeah. But, these kids get stoned as shit, but it's keeping them healthy. It's not necessarily curing their cancer, but they can live like normal children. They're not in pain.
It's about, eat. Appetite management, pain management, just general
like
pleasure.
so these
kids
are getting fucked up, but you know what? If they're living happy, that's fucking beautiful.
Yeah, I certainly don't
rag. Pain medication fucks people up, and they're giving that out to everyone.
I definitely don't. I'm not here to say like, oh, I rag on it and its properties and what it can do for people. Do what the fuck you want. I'm just saying, as it gets more popular, skip that word. Like they got to get rid of like that weird. It's not even the stigma. It's or anything of it. It's just that weird.
There's dude. There's still a stoner stigma.
No. I get that, but I'm just saying, as well as getting rid of that stigma, they got to get rid of that weird fucking graphic design culture of it that I fucking think looks like garbage.
It does look
so
cheesy,
dumb.
Man.
Like, why does everyone want a pod leaf googly eye thing?
People
or
don't
like
do
fucking
that,
things
though.
with smoke writing and.
Man, the only people you see that I sound like a real.
It's on every bong. Look at everything you guys have. Like it's everywhere.
I got a classy bong.
Greg's bong's fine. It's a glass bong. It's neat.
It's very neat looking.
But is there not a stupid print on it? Like lift it up. Is there not a print?
No, that's just that fucking
the name of it.
Company's logo. It just says nice.
So they use the periodic table looking and whatever.
It's not even the periodic table. It just
that's
says,
what that's supposed to
so,
represent.
Just so everyone knows, Kyle's a graphic design critique.
Yeah,
it's not. I'm just saying it looks trashy. That's all I'm saying. They should get rid of that.
Stoners
weird.
are trashy.
No,
I agree with you.
It's just that weird culture thing that's grown up with it, and stoners have had it forever, and it feels like it represents
you just
them.
hate white people with dreadlocks.
Yeah, the world does. The world does. All right. Well, on that
note,
note,
we're done like thinning out some of our audience members.
I don't think
fuck
we can
hipsters,
anybody.
shaming shorts, long boards, dreadlocks, man buns, Bieber fans, women, people who like weed graphic design. Who else? Who else can we fucking single out today?
Oh, that's pretty much it
for
for
one
episode. I think
fuck
that's
you
pretty
to
good
the
haul.
audience.
Yeah, we got them all.
Anybody anybody who didn't fit into that category, tune in next week.
All right, I guess so. That's been episode.
No, we know
11.
what the name of this episode is. It's just 2 versus 3 versus everyone else.
The world versus us. All right, well, that's been episode 11 of 2 versus 3. Be sure to follow us on YouTube, on Facebook, facebook.com/2versus3, and on Twitter @2versus3. And check out all the fantastic podcasts at B-Movies and eBooks. They've added a new one recently called Scary as Shit, so be sure to check them out.
Check out Cody's review
Of, Unraveled.
Yeah, it's up on their video game section on bmoviesandebooks.com.
So I think that's it for this week. I'm Kyle.
I'm Cody.
I'm Greg.
Thanks for listening.
Have a good night.
The podcast you just heard is part of the B&E Network, brought to you by bmoviesandebooks.com.